So we're continuing on with following in the Buddha's footsteps, talking about the second of the three higher trainings, higher training in concentration, and specifically here about how to actualize serenity, okay? Serenity or shamatha. So that's the first attainment, and there's many different levels of meditative stabilization that follow that, okay? But this is aiming at the basic one, the foundation one, where you can keep your mind on an object for as long as you like without it getting distracted. Okay, so some of you may say, well, I kept my mind on my object for 1 second. That's as long as I like. Yeah, do I have serenity now? Okay. So we're especially right now doing this section on the 5 hindrances. So the 5 hindrances are spoken of in all the Buddhist traditions, yeah, and the Buddha himself mentioned them. They're spoken about in the Pali scriptures. And so these are really gross, yeah, afflictions that disturb our mind and inhibit concentration. So sensual desire is the first one. We talked about that last time. Okay, so that is desire for external objects. It could be also for praise and reputation. It's very much involved with the 8 worldly concerns. But it especially talks about sexual desire because that's the strongest of the sensual desire. And that's the one, it not only distracts you in your meditation, it can make you disrobe. It can get you into all sorts of problems, just as Elon with his 14 kids. Okay, so yeah, if you have 14 kids, don't think you're bringing them all here. Okay, if they want to ordain later, fine. Yeah, but okay, so that's something to be very careful about. And then today we'll start talking about malice, which is on the side of sensual desires, on the side of attachment, malice, the side of anger, rejection, animosity. And the one after that is lethargy and sleepiness. So that one's kind of going towards ignorance. Yeah. And then the one after that is restlessness and regret. There's just like lethargy and sleepiness, 2 things being put together, we can see how those 2 are similar. With the next one, restlessness and regret, it might be harder for us initially to see how they're similar, but it will be explained when we get there. And then the last one is deluded doubt. Okay. So, these ones are, they're very gross. They interrupt not only our concentration, but they cause a lot of problems in our life in general and, interfere with our general Dharma practice, because you could be sitting here in teachings and then, these come up in a series, one after the other, even though it look, you're wearing your chugu and you're sitting here and looking so like beautiful students, but in the mind, these things, can be going on. And so it's really important that we learn what they are, how to identify them, and also their antidotes, okay? And not only just learn those things, but practice them, yeah? And so the practice, you don't have to wait for when you're doing, trying to actualize serenity. These are ones that we should be practicing now in our daily meditation, okay? And really pick out the ones that are, strongest for you and plaguing you, and work on those. And as you practice the mind training teachings and what's taught in the Lamrim, the stages of the path, then you'll find that you're getting some control over these 5 hindrances. Okay, but you have to practice, yeah, and that means in your meditation sessions, and you have to pull out things from the past where these, came up very strong, and really look at them and understand how they work in your mind and what they do and how they trip you up and how you follow them, yeah. And then learn the antidotes and practice the antidotes. Because in order to do that in your daily life, when a situation's right in front of you, you have to be familiar with it from practicing in your regular practice, okay? It's like, you can read the driver's manual and you know all the rules, yeah? And how many feet before an intersection you have to turn your blinker on and so on. Yeah. But if you don't kind of think about those, imagine them, imagine doing them and so on, but you just think you can get in a car and follow those rules, no. Okay. So we have to, the familiarization with all these things is very important. Yeah. And we shouldn't wait until the last minute, because when afflictions arise in our mind, yeah, if we're not attentive, if we don't have a lot of mindfulness and introspective awareness, when they arise, boom, they're off and running, complete with all our justifications for why this is actually a good state of mind. Yeah, so you have to, it's like riding a wild bull or something. Our mind's like that sometimes, isn't it? It's just nutty. So, to learn how to manage it, and it takes time and effort, but you will see progress if you do it. Okay. Okay, so let's start off with visualizing the mirror field and ourselves surrounded by all the sentient beings. And if there's people who you know or don't know who are really bothering you and disturbing your mind, or I should not say that they're bothering you and disturbing your mind is bothered and disturbed, yeah, then think, I'm trying to practice the Dharma, become a Buddha for the benefit of these people. Yeah, they seem to me confused right now, and I want to help them. But to do that, I have to tame my own mind first and develop skillful means for benefiting others, as well as bodhicitta. So in that way, you kind of flip it instead of letting your mind rest in some kind of bad mood towards somebody. You think, I want to attain enlightenment to benefit them.
To the teacher endowed, transcendent destroyer, when the skand, foe destroyer, completely and fully awakened one, perfect in knowledge and good conduct, one gone to bliss, nor of the world supreme guide of beings to be tamed. Teacher of gods and humans, to you the Buddha endowed, transcendent destroyer, glorious conqueror, Shakyamuni, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When, O supreme among humans, you were born on this earth, you paced 7 strides and said, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise, then I bow. With pure bodies formed supremely fine, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best supreme guide, to you I bow. With a supreme science, face like a spotless moon, color like gold, to you I bow. You are immaculate, the 3 worlds are not, incomparable wise one, to you I bow. Great compassionate protector, all-knowing teacher, filled of merit and good qualities, vast as an ocean, to the Tathagata I bow. Through purity, freeing from attachment, through virtue, freeing from the lower realms, unique, supreme, ultimate reality, to the Dharma that is peace I bow. Having freed themselves, showing the path to freedom too, well established in the trainings, the holy field endowed with good qualities, to the Sangha I bow. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind completely, this is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a mirage, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew, a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud, see conditioned things as such. Through this merit may sentient beings attain the state of all-seeing, subdue the foe of faults, and be delivered from the ocean of cyclic existence, perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. This ground anointed with perfume, flowers strewn Mount Meru, foreland, sun and moon, imagined as a Buddha land and offered to you. May all beings enjoy this pure land. Venerable holy gurus, in the space of your truth body, from billowing clouds of your wisdom and love, let fall the rain of the profound and extensive Dharma, in whatever form is suitable for subduing sentient beings. Idam Guru Ratnam Mandalakam Niryatayami.
I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by listening to the Dharma, I will attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by listening to the Dharma, I will attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by listening to the Dharma, I will attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. So let's cultivate our motivation. So as you go through the day, are you aware of your potential to do good, to become fully awakened? Or are you involved in self-criticism and complaints and criticism towards others? So which of these two occupy your mind more? So His Holiness repeatedly has said that to practice the Bodhisattva path, we have to have self-confidence. We can't be always putting ourselves down or telling ourselves we are incapable or being mad at ourselves for this, that, or the other thing. So it's important, when these debilitating mental states of putting ourselves down, of trashing ourselves, when they arise in the mind, to recognize them for what they are, that they're not true. Those things are not our ultimate nature. And they are not even things that have to remain in our mind forever. They're not inherent parts of the mind. So rather than waste our time following them, press the pause button, remember how these states of mind, putting ourselves down, criticizing others, are not true. They're exaggerations. They're based on incorrect states of mind. And because especially they're based on ignorance, grasping true existence, they can be eliminated from our mind stream forever. And so remembering this again and again, let's have an optimistic mind and direct that mind towards generating bodhicitta, benefiting all living beings, and stepping up to the plate to do that, to practice as best as we can, dedicate the merit for awakening, and as we're on the path, to be as beneficial to others as we can, and to feel happy about that, to recognize that we don't have to be miserable to have compassion. In fact, we shouldn't be miserable having compassion. Okay, so take a minute and generate bodhicitta. Okay. So we're on page 170. Okay, malice, the wish to give harm. Yeah, you ever had that mind? How about today? Yeah. Malice towards somebody who's bugging you. Malice at, it's going to take another, how many hundreds of years to finish the Buddha? 729 to finish, yeah. And then we're going to have a big dome like the cathedral in Firenze. Okay. So malice, the wish to give harm, may arise towards many objects, a particular person, physical pain or mental anguish, loneliness, conflicting ideas, political figures, sounds, or whatever else meets with our disapproval, which could be anything, especially things we like, because we may like at one moment and disapprove of something about it the next moment. Okay, malice is an unpleasant state of mind. It is unpleasant, isn't it? When you have the wish in your mind to harm somebody, yeah, are you feeling like, oh, I'm so relaxed and peaceful? Yeah. No, we're feeling miserable. Yeah. So it makes us ask, why do we, believe in that mind so much when we can look at, the story behind our malice and dissect it and see how it's inaccurate? Yeah. Can you see how it's inaccurate? Yeah, we have to be able to do that. Yeah. Okay. Especially when we get into, oh, I don't belong, nobody understands me, nobody cares about me, they all criticize me. Yeah. They say it's a rock tumbler and I'm going to come out as a polished gem. But I'm getting beaten up. Yeah. These people are just beating me up. And they're Dharma practitioners. They shouldn't be like this. Yeah. They should be practicing compassion and bodhicitta towards me. Yeah, right? Yeah. Okay. How can I show them, for their own benefit, that their mental state is incorrect? Yeah. Let's see. I could try sarcasm. I could try just saying back to them what they say to me. What else could I do? I could bring it up at a stand-up meeting so that the whole community knows. Get everybody on my side against this person who I just can't stand. Okay. That we spend a lot of time with malice. It's not a happy state of mind. It's not a virtuous state of mind. Yeah. It's an unpleasant state of mind that makes us vengeful, cynical, and fearful. How can that one mind cause such opposite mental states? Vengeful where I, want to attack back. Cynical, where I just go, yeah, And fearful, where I'm scared. What are those people going to say to me? What is it going to do to me? What's going to happen to me? Yeah, interesting, watch how malice can bring all those three, plus some other ones. Okay, so it's an unpleasant state of mind that makes us vengeful, cynical, and fearful, but it is one that we may be familiar with, one that distracts us from using our human potential to do good. And in the meantime, we criticize other people for not using their human potential to do good and instead making problems for the world. Malice causes our actions to contradict Dharma advice, and as a result, we fall to unfortunate rebirths. So we have to see the connection between malice, and you create actions or just even mulling over, the mental karma of malice. And that can ripen in a lower rebirth. And imagine if we're very familiar with malice, then it would be very easy at the time we die for a malicious mind to arise, because we are creatures of habit and what we're familiar with is going to come up. And especially at the time we're dying and we're separating from everything and going into the wild blue yonder, it would be really easy to have malice, and be angry and upset and scared, okay? So, to really stop and do I want to take the chance to die with that kind of attitude? I'm miserable enough having it when I'm alive, let alone having it at the time of death. So malice is likened to a thief that steals our virtue, and is likened to a storehouse filled with all types of harsh speech. Isn't harsh speech wonderful? When we do it, yes. When we hear it, no. If malice arises while we sit in meditation, we may spend the entire session ruminating on the harms done to us, such that any concentration except on the object of our anger becomes impossible. We are single-pointed on that, the object, the person, the policy, whatever it is that meets with our disapproval. And we spent a whole meditation session on it. Going round and around and around, thinking the same thoughts again and again. They did this, they did that, and I was so kind, and they're not very nice to me, and poor me, and I should have compassion for them. Okay, first thing to compassion is show them how they need to change, because they're miserable holding this malice against me. So how can I make them change? And okay, you can spend not just one meditation session, several of them, and you probably have. I have. Okay. So Nagarjuna quotes Shakra, the king of the Devas, asking the Buddha about malice. Okay, he starts out, Shakra, the king of the Devas, he's a big shot. And he asks the Buddha, what thing is it which killed brings peace and security. Yeah, killing something, that's against the Buddha's ethic. Yeah, but here's something which killed brings peace and security. Yeah. What is it in which slain one has no regrets? So what can we slay and then have no regrets about it? What thing is it which is the root of venomousness? When you have venom towards other people. Mm-hmm. And which devours and destroys all forms of goodness. And that's what malice does, doesn't it? Especially with people we care about who are important in our lives. Yeah, we get angry at them and, the good connection, we destroy it. Mm-hmm. What thing is it which one slays and then one is praised? So you want praise and you want to kill something, what do you kill? And you're going to get praised instead of arrested. Mm-hmm. And what is it which slain brings no more distress? Because if we slay an ordinary enemy, then we face retaliation from their friends, from, their country. But here, and we face distress because of that. So here, what is it which slain brings one no more distress? So the Buddha replies, if one kills anger, the mind will be peaceful and secure. True or not true? Yeah. If one slays anger, the mind will have no regrets. Well, maybe some regret. Yeah, because I feel real powerful when I'm angry. I feel very sure of myself when I'm angry. Yeah, if I give up anger, I'm going to be kind of wimpy. I won't have self-confidence. Yeah? Do you ever feel like that? That you really need anger to be somebody? Make your voice heard. Okay. So why does the Buddha say, if one slays anger, the mind will have no regrets, and the mind will be peaceful and secure? Yeah? Can we see how anger, and again, it means animosity, rage, rebelliousness, this whole thing, how it makes us feel insecure? Yeah? Or angry. Now, sometimes people may feel more secure because the adrenaline's going. But as soon as the adrenaline subsides, do we feel secure when we're angry? Yeah. If you weren't, if you were happy and relaxed, do you feel insecure? When the mind is free of anger, do you feel insecure? Oh. Okay. It is anger which is the root of venomousness. Makes our tongue like a snake, Yeah? And they want to bite you. It is anger which destroys all forms of goodness. Yeah? You want to destroy your merit? Quick, cheap, easy way, get angry. if one slays anger, all Buddhas offer praise. Oh, I would like the Buddha to offer praise. Maybe I should try taming my anger. Yeah? And you know what? Probably other people will praise you too. Yeah, if they know you before, and then as you start to calm your mind and tame the anger and the venomousness, yeah, other people will praise you, not only the Buddha. And if one slays anger, one has no more distress. Yeah, it's true. So these lines are things to really sit with in our meditation, and look back over our states of anger, and pick one of them, Okay. Yeah, what effect does anger have? Well, I usually have regrets afterwards because I say and do and think things that, are really kind of nasty and harmful to other people. Okay? So I have regrets. And then think of situations where that happened in your life, and then thought, well, what would happen if I could, instead of being angry, accept the situation and learn from it, instead of rejecting the way things are and then being angry about it. Okay, think about how anger destroys your goodness. Have you ever had a good friend and then you've gotten really angry at that person, and then after that it was really hard to reestablish trust? Yeah, partly because the other person doesn't want to be around you, and partly because you feel so lousy that it's hard to talk to that person again. Okay, so this material is really rich, and it applies quite directly to our minds. So recognizing the disadvantages of anger and malice, turn your mind to the kindness of others, okay, which is not what you want to think about when you're angry. They're mean. They're wrong. Yeah. But try and turn your mind to the kindness of others, because everybody in one way or another is kind to us. Now you might say, well, this person, stole my identity and emptied my whole bank account. Yeah? Okay, so now I'm broke. That's not kindness, that's stealing, that's breaking precept. That's being unkind. This person needs to be put in jail. Okay. What can we learn from this situation? What is our anger teaching us? Hello? Uh-huh.
It's teaching us that we're miserable when we have that mind state. Mm-hmm. And we probably created the karma in the past that is bringing this on right now.
And that we had an immense amount of attachment to that money, and that it gave a great source of identity to ourselves. And now that it was gone, we feel bereft of who we are.
Mm-hmm. Boy, that anger is showing us a lot, or that thief, is showing us a lot about ourselves, aren't they? Yeah. Things about ourselves that we probably wouldn't have noticed, yeah, if that situation had not happened. And then also, whatever job that person does in society, whether they're picking the carrots that we eat, or making our flight reservations, or stocking the shelves of Walgreens with heating pads. You know, they're being kind and we're benefiting from their efforts. Yeah. So not to make somebody, you know, because when we're mad, people become very one-dimensional. Everything about them is bad. And that's not true. Yeah. So the situation teaches us, you know, a lot about how we're rejecting the reality of the situation. Yeah, that person is kind. Also, the reality is, I'm not getting my way. Yeah, I am never accepting that. I deserve to get my way, always. Yeah, that might make us happy? No. Releasing, so return the mind, you know, to thinking about the kindness of the person and what we can learn from the situation. Releasing the judgmental, vengeful attitude. Cultivate forgiveness and love. Yeah. Forgiveness is, we sometimes have the wrong idea of forgiveness. We think that when we forgive somebody, we're making ourselves lower. That somehow we're saying, oh, you trampled on me, it's okay. We're not saying that. When we forgive somebody, we are simply putting down our anger, saying, I'm tired of being angry about this. Yeah, I'm sick and tired of being angry, vengeful, depressed, scornful, spiteful. Yeah. So that's what forgiveness is. We are putting down the mind that is keeping ourselves trapped. And that forgiveness actually makes us our mind strong. Yeah. Because we can handle different situations. Our meditation on love should be personal. It is not difficult to wish well to an amorphous group of sentient beings suffering on the other side of the world. That's, you know, you think of Sudan, yeah? Yes, it's terrible, you know, what's going on in Gaza, yeah? What about Iran? Yeah? Or do you think with Iran, yeah, we're gonna show them? I was very surprised, you know, because yesterday Israel started bombing the nuclear development sites in Iran and also killed some of the top political leaders and the top scientists. Yeah, so I was reading about this, and I like to read the comments that other readers put in. I was very surprised. Most, you know, almost all people were saying, yes, that was very good that Israel bombed Iran, you know, because, you know, their reason was Iran is on the verge of developing nuclear weapons, and they will surely use them. Yeah, so what Israel did was good. You know, it stopped Iran from doing that. It made it harder for them. It will, so that war won't break out in the Middle East. I mean, people were saying that kind of thing. I was very surprised. Yeah. Yeah. my mind was saying something very different. Yeah. But it was interesting, the kind of, vengefulness that people have. They are our enemies. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. But at the same time, Donnie was very clear that the United States was not involved in this. Yeah. Okay. But wishing specific individuals to have happiness in its causes, especially those we know who have different political opinions or who have harmed us or our dear ones, can be more challenging. So begin the meditation with individuals and gradually radiate love to all beings everywhere. So you might start off your meditation on forgiveness and letting go with somebody that you don't have really strong anger for a long time. Or you might go straight to the people you have the most difficulty with. Yeah. And really work that one. Yeah. It's like when you make bread, you have to knead the dough, and it takes energy in your fingers. You knead it, and you knead it, and you throw it, and slap it, and knead it, and again and again. And this is what we have to do with our mind, to get it to, just like you want the bread to rise, you want your mind to rise to virtuous attitudes. And we have to, need that like that. Okay, so that's malice. Then the third of the 5 hindrances, two things together, lethargy and sleepiness. Maybe we can do this in a few weeks. I'm tired. I had a hard day. Yeah, I sat in the car for hours. And then I sat in an office for hours. And you know what happens when I sit and I can't get up and walk? So I'm in pain and I'm tired. Okay. Lethargy manifests physically as lacking physical energy and stamina, and mentally as mental heaviness. Okay? So all the people who are on the verge of falling asleep right now, I would assume that you're feeling lethargic. Yeah? Physically and mentally. Yeah? Okay, so we've all experienced lethargy. Sometimes, we wake up in the morning, we're not very alert. Yeah, kind of lethargic in the morning, lethargic at noon, lethargic in the evening. Isn't there a song like that? What is it? Something in the morning, something in, yeah. Yeah, I forget what the lyric, but something like, so you're, lethargic in the morning, lethargic in the afternoon, lethargic, at tea time, lethargic all the time, okay. Yeah, the mind is dull, unclear, and lacks energy. We feel bored, and we don't want to exert the energy to be interested in anything. So what do? Okay, well, we might just sit there in a stupor, or go outside and, sit in the chair and look at the sky. Or To what?
To things we don't like or things we do like.
Yeah. When the mind's lethargic, it wants something to grab onto. So it might go to something we don't like, something we do like. Yeah. It goes to your phone and your computer. And you spend how much time scrolling through your phone, yeah, looking things up in the computer that you're really not interested in, but all of a sudden you feel so bored and lethargic that you want to see, like, what? Yeah, what kind of ink do they use when you get tattoos? Yeah. I've never thought of that before. I've got to Google that. Yeah? What kind of, yeah? Or, oh, there's somebody coming, we just got an application form from somebody. I've got to Google them and, get some background information on them. Or somebody on their form, they have some kind of physical thing that was some long scientific name, and I have no idea what it is. I've got to Google it. Yeah. Or, when you turn on the computer, does it sometimes show your if you have pictures saved on your computer, does it sometimes show the pictures? Oh, there are pictures from 2002. Oh, let's look at those. Maybe that will keep me awake. What happened in 2002? I was in Missouri. Yeah. And then your mind goes off. Oh, yeah, I remember what happened in Missouri, this and that, and the other thing. And okay, now I feel more alive. I can think about everything that didn't work out. So interesting. Okay, the mind is dull, clear, and lacks energy. We feel bored, and we don't want to exert the energy to be interested in anything. This may occur because the mind is mired in negativity or exhausted by too much emotion, or just you're physically tired. But when you've had like a very emotional day, yeah, like at the end, you're lethargic, yeah. Or when you've had a day when you've just felt so negative, really down, really critical and lethargic. Okay, so that's lethargy. Sleepiness is drowsiness, okay? So the 5 sense faculties have withdrawn, and we may even nod off in meditation. So lethargy is the heaviness, dragging, but it's sleepiness in which our senses stop functioning and we start drifting off to la-la land. Okay, so they're different, lethargy and sleepiness. Yeah. Have you ever been in the middle of reciting prayers and all of a sudden you realize that you're kind of, going into la-la land? Yeah. I take refuge. Yeah. You know the words, but your mind is, going off somewhere, falling asleep. And we may even nod off. Lethargy and sleepiness are distinct mental factors. So they're not the same thing. They're distinct mental factors, but are explained together because they have the same cause, function, and antidote. So they are caused by 5 factors. Bad dreams makes you lethargic, and sleepy. Mental unhappiness, yep. Physical exhaustion, yep. Unbalanced food consumption. Oh, I hit the snack table before everybody else did this morning and got everything I wanted, and I overate. Okay, unbalanced food consumption and depression. And sometimes in the winter, if you don't get enough sunlight, yeah, you can feel very lethargic. Yeah. But also, if your mind gets depressed, then you just kind of dragging yourself through. It's not a very pleasant state of mind. Okay, so those are the 5 factors causing lethargy and sleepiness. Yeah, so they have common causes. They have common function because both function to make the body and mind dull. And they have the same antidote. They're counteracted by a bright, alert mind. Yeah, so does that mean you're just like this? I'm like, okay, I got to come up with a bright, alert mind to get over this. How do I do that? Yeah, whack. Yeah. Well, you can go outside, look at the sky, look long distance. Yeah. Get some light in your eyes. Don't stare at the sun. Don't copy Donnie that way, But get some light. Walk, get some exercise. Okay. Yeah. Do some gardening. Go in the forest and do some forest work. Yeah. Okay. From one perspective, lethargy and sleepiness are more problematic than other hindrances, in that other hindrances can often be dispelled simply by recognizing them. So when you get very proficient with the antidotes, if your mind starts, let's say, getting critical of somebody, you realize, oh, I'm getting angry, and you stop it. Or your mind starts wandering off, to being on the beach with, Buddha boy or Buddha girl or whoever it is, Buddha cat, Buddha dog, Buddha bear. Yeah. And, sometimes you can just recognize, oh, my mind's wandering off into attachment, bring it back. Yeah. So sometimes these can be dispelled simply by recognizing them, whereas the mind is totally clouded over and unaware when lethargy and sleepiness reign. And you can sit in a meditation session, yeah, and maybe you have kind of some awareness that the mind isn't totally focused, but not much awareness. Yeah, because you're going off to La La Land. Nagarjuna says that the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas admonish their indolent disciples by reminding us of the faults of samsara and urging us to wake up immediately and follow the path to liberation. Okay, so maybe we should make a tape of this and play it first thing in the morning. Yeah. And here's Nagarjuna saying, you, get up. Don't lie there hugging that stinking corpse that is all sorts of impurities falsely designated as a person. It's as if you've gotten a serious disease or been shot by an arrow with such an accumulation of suffering and pain. How can you sleep, you jerk? You're wasting your whole life. Okay, that's from Nagarjuna, except for the you jerk part. Okay, but sometimes, Maybe Nagarjuna does say, you jerk. Yeah? Nagarjuna is calling me a jerk. I better wake up. Listen, what's he saying? What's he saying is true. Here's continuation of what Nagarjuna is saying. The entire world is burning up by the fire of death. You should be seeking means of escape. How then can you sleep? You're like a person in shackles being led to his execution. With disastrous harm so imminent, how can you sleep? Yeah. Then he continues, with insurgent fetters not yet destroyed, and their harm not yet averted, it's as if you were sleeping in a room with a venomous snake, and as if you have met up with the soldier's gleaming blades. At such a time, how can you sleep? Yeah. The National Guard is there. The Marines are there. Donnie's in your face. Yeah, how can you sleep? Then Nagarjuna says, sleep is a vast darkness in which nothing is visible. Well, that's what I want. I'm so depressed. I just want darkness. Really? Really? I don't think that's what somebody really wants. Sleep is a vast darkness in which nothing is visible. Every day it deceives and steals away your clarity. When sleep blankets the mind, you are not aware of anything. With such great faults as these, how can you sleep? Okay. This does not mean that we should stay up all night and never sleep. Okay? What it means is sleeping should not be our refuge. Yeah? For some people, sleeping is their refuge. They don't want to deal with what's going on in their life. Yeah? Go to sleep. Yeah. And that just can waste, your whole life. Your whole life. Yeah. So we sleep, we need to rest the body, but not oversleep, and not use sleep as a way to distract us from dealing with what's happening in our mind. Mm-hmm. While sitting in meditation, you may notice that the mind can be restless one moment and drowsy the next. You ever had that happen? Mind's restless and then, drowsy. This indicates that lethargy and sleepiness are not necessarily signs of physical fatigue or lack of sleep. Because sometimes, when we're dull in our life, we just say, oh, I'm tired. Yeah. Well, the way to test if it's physically tired is to check. One moment is your mind kind of restless, moving, squirming, and the next moment sleepy. If it is, then it's not physical and mental exhaustion. Okay. So lethargy and sleepiness are often a way that ignorance and resistance sabotage your attempts to meditate. Isn't that true? You don't feel like meditating because you're so sleepy. You stayed up past 10 o'clock working, doing your work. So that's why I'm tired. So yes, I need to go to sleep. And then I'll skip morning practice too because I'm exhausted. And then I'll get up and go to breakfast. And after breakfast, I'll go do what I will like. I'll take a walk, I'll work in the garden, I'll read a book. Okay. Or we're resistant to something. Yeah, somebody said, okay, tomorrow is offering service Saturday, and we're all going to go out and work with all the guests that come, because we have a lot of work to do in various areas. Yeah. And you don't want to do it. You hate offering service Saturday. Yeah, because it means that you have to be with the guests. Yeah, those people who bring so much food and nourish us and support us staying alive. I don't want to be with them. Yeah, I would much rather sleep or work on my stamp collection or, do something. And I'm exhausted. And I just, the Dharma teaching was so great last night that I just stayed up really late thinking about it. So, now I'm exhausted. Yeah, resistant. So they are often a way that ignorance and resistance sabotage your attempts to meditate. Sometimes they occur as a result of destructive karma created in the past. We may have avoided the Dharma or treated holy beings and holy objects disrespectfully. That can, result in being, falling asleep during teachings, falling asleep during your meditation sessions. Making prostrations together with the four opponent powers before we sit in meditation is an excellent way to invigorate the body while purifying karmic obstacles. But I'm too tired to do that. Yeah. I have to get up early and go to the meditation hall. And everybody wants to do prostrations, and I'm just exhausted. Yeah. And what does your Dharma teacher tell you to do if you fall asleep in teachings and in meditation? What did they tell you to do? Prostrations. But you're too tired to do them. It takes too much energy. Yeah, I can bend down to pick up the cat, but I can't bend down to show respect to the Buddha. Yeah. Anyway, my teacher told me to do it, and I'm still a teenager and I don't want to be told what to do. If I'm exhausted and I will just sleep, And if they don't have me there on offering service Saturday, then they'll realize how wonderful I am. Yeah, you really are wonderful. Okay, so prostrations, purification, may be done in conjunction with reciting a bodhisattva's confession of ethical downfalls with the prostrations to the 35 Buddhas. Oh, but I can't do it myself because I don't have it memorized. And I don't want to go to the Dharma, to the meditation hall and do them with everybody else, because everybody's bowing and people don't use deodorant and the room starts to stink. And, I don't want to be in that room with those people doing bowing. Yeah. So I'll just stay outside. Actually, and I'm exhausted, I'll just stay in bed. Yeah. While prostrating, imagine brilliant light from the Buddha filling your body-mind, dispelling physical and mental heaviness and uplifting your mental energy. That takes too much energy to imagine bright light filling my body and mind. You know, I just need to go to sleep, that's all. Yeah, offering service Saturday starts 9 o'clock. Yes, 9 o'clock, I need to go to sleep. Actually, 8:45. Yeah. While doing breathing meditation, here's another way to do it. Imagine inhaling bright light with each breath and exhaling dullness in the form of smoke that vanishes in space. Yeah, that can help too, really incorporating that. Inhaling light and exhaling this smog that doesn't, sit around you building up from the ground and choke you, but you exhale it and it vanishes. Okay. Remembering impermanence is also effective, as is contemplating uplifting factors, such as the qualities of the three jewels, the preciousness of your human life, and the rare opportunity you possess to cultivate wonderful spiritual qualities. But my mind also wakes up when I think of Buddha boy, Buddha girl. Yeah, that wakes your mind up too, doesn't it? You're exhausted 1 minute, and then you think about sex, and you're like, whoa, I'm awake. But I really have to go to sleep. Yeah. Chinese monasteries have wake-up devices that some monastics use. Okay, somebody gave me one. Where is it? Many years ago. No, that. Yeah, there's a board that you smack on somebody's back, and then there I see my stick over there. Yeah. Okay, but they use that board. So one is a piece of wood attached. Oh, here's another thing. I was thinking of the board, but here, one is a piece of wood attached to the meditator's ear with a string. If he nods off, it falls and pulls the ear. Okay. Another is a stick that, when hit on the acupuncture point on a meditator's back, makes a cracking sound that rouses the person and wakes up everybody else in the meditation hall. So you're doing something kind. Yeah. Lama Yeshe put, a bowl, an offering bowl filled with water on top of your head. Yeah. During break times, look long distances and look at the stars and the moon at night to enlarge your mental scope. That's really helpful, especially if you're in retreat. Yeah. Make the meditation room cooler or remove your sweater and avoid overeating. Oh, but if I don't overeat, then I'm hungry in the middle of the session. And I've got to wear my sweater. In fact, not one sweater, I need a blanket here and a blanket over my knees. And I need one of those big Tibetan capes, Yeah, because it's freezing in the meditation hall. Yeah, it's 70 degrees and I just can't. I'm frozen, yeah. Yeah, but really, take off all the blankets and the sweaters, yeah, and when your body is cooler, it's much easier to stay awake. And if you don't eat a whole lot, yeah. And another thing, splash cold water on your face before the session. Yeah, that works quite well. But not just a little cold water going like that. You really get the icy water and you put it all over your face and head. Okay, so that's lethargy and sleepiness. Now, drum roll, restlessness and regret. So restlessness and regret are separate mental factors in the same way that lethargy and sleepiness are. Okay, but they are combined as one hindrance because they have the same cause, function, and antidote. Okay, so both arise due to preconceptions that remember our relatives, friends, home, previous good times, and loving companions. Okay, so when you remember all those people with an attitude of attachment, then your mind is restless. You want to see them, you want to be with them, you're remembering all the good times and planning, your next vacation with them and so on. Yeah. With regret, yeah, the same people come to mind, but instead of, thinking of them with, oh, I love them and I want to be with them, it's like, oh, I said the most horrible things to these people, and I was so rude and obnoxious. I didn't appreciate, what my parents did for me, and I didn't appreciate my teachers, and you have regret. Okay, so you're thinking, this is what's interesting. It's the same object, friends, relatives, dear ones, but you're seeing them from very different angles. Yeah. Okay, but the object is the same. They both function to make the mind unsettled. If you're restless, wanting to be with them, mind is unsettled. If you feel guilty and regretful and remorseful about what you said, the mind is unsettled. Okay, same function and same antidote. Okay, serenity is their antidote. How do you overcome restlessness and regret? By generating concentration. Yeah. Okay, but both restlessness and regret both lack calm. I mean, the mind is not calm, it's tumultuous. Okay, so first, restlessness. Restlessness is mental agitation. Sometimes the Tibetan texts, people who have translated it before have used the term agitation or excitement. I think restlessness is really better because restlessness can apply to all sorts of different states where you're restless. Yeah. Whereas excitement, if your mind is excited, I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to something. Yeah. But here, it could be looking forward, but it could also be looking forward, but with anxiety or anticipation, not a good kind of excitement. Yeah. Okay, so both function to make the mind unsettled and both lack calm. Serenity is their antidote. So restlessness is mental agitation that includes anxiety, fear, apprehension, excitement, and worry. Okay, so those are quite different mental states. Anxiety. Yeah. My mind's unsettled, I'm worried, I'm afraid, I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I mean, Trump's president, what's going to happen? And the riots. I mean, tomorrow they're going to have no King's Day. Yeah. Oh, should I go to a protest? Should I not go to a protest? Shall I sing praises to Donnie or not? I don't know. I feel nervous. I feel apprehensive. Okay. So anxiety, fear. Yeah. What happens? Oh, I go to the protest. What happens if that Marine takes his anger out on me? Or he's just not very mindful, and he has guns and he has, rifles, and he's dressed up for war, and I'm afraid of the Marines. I don't want to be near them. Okay. Apprehension. Ooh. Again, the mind is unsettled. What could happen? What could happen? Yeah. Or, I think sometimes when people reserve a place at a retreat and then cancel, I think sometimes what's happening is apprehension, anxiety, nervousness. Yeah, there's a feeling, if I go to this thing and, it could really change me a lot, and I'm not so sure I really want to be changed so much. Yeah, miserable, but yeah, maybe it's going to make me a born-again Buddhist. Yeah. Or maybe, it won't make me a born-again Buddhist, but they're going to tell me that I have to love all these other people, that I have to love everybody. Ugh. I don't want to think about that. That scares me. Okay. Or excitement. I'm going to spend the day with Buddha boy at the beach. You're so excited. Yeah, remember when you were a teenager and, you're going on this very important date with somebody that you've been trying to pay attention to you, and finally they are, and ooh, yeah, and your mind's like that. Yeah. At least you aren't lethargic. Yeah, you're excited. And worry. Oh no, I'm going out with Buddha boy, and I have a midnight curfew, and we're not going to be back by midnight. But then what's my mother going to do? Oh, no. We'll be sitting out in the car talking, and my mother's going to come out and knock on the window. Yeah. Just what you want, huh? Or in my case, I'm not home. We're sitting out there. She can see the car, but she's going to call the police and say, my daughter's been kidnapped and been in an accident, and go out and find her. And then I'm going to get in so much trouble. Oy vey Izmir. Yeah. Okay, so that's restlessness. Yeah. Restlessness is wonderful, isn't it? You're squirmy. Yeah, you're squirmy. You wish the teaching would stop. You wish that the cushion was more comfortable. You wish that the heating pad was hotter or colder, or that you wish that you had taken some ibuprofen before, or that you had put one of those patches on from Singapore, or or oh my God, I left the water on. I'm sure I was watering the flowers up on the Buddha Hall, and I had to turn that thing on down, but I was up there and I watered everything, and I forgot to turn it off down here. Oh, no. Yeah. Okay, I gotta leave the meditation session because otherwise I'll flood the Buddha hall. That's all we need is another flood. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. What? It can be anything. And anything. I forgot to feed the cat. Yeah.
I've left the hall when I forgot her.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's suffering so much.
Venerable's suffering because she's getting. I don't feed the cat and I go to meditation hall. She's going to be all over my teacher. My teacher's not be able to study, think, practice because she's going to be walking all over her because she's suffering.
Yeah. And she will. That's the only time she comes up to see me. That's when I get the most attention, is when it's nearing mealtime and she isn't there. Yeah. Oh, I have to win back the cat's love. You know, I went away for 5 weeks after another trip, and now she doesn't speak to me. Yeah. Yeah, you think you have problems, nobody loves you. Yeah, the cat that used to love me broke up. Yeah, she broke up. Okay. Okay. An incessant flow of thoughts bounce from one topic to the other, right? Restlessness is of 3 types. Physically restlessness, okay, and we jump from one activity to another aimlessly. Oh boy, we have some people like that around here, don't we? Yeah. Where are they? Well, I just saw them out there, but now they're over here, and now they're up in the sky and down there, you know. And then the other one, where's that other one? Who knows? Yeah, probably sleeping. Yeah, there's a hammock. Who does that hammock belong to out there? Yeah? Yeah, is it whose? Sarah's. Sarah McFarlane. No, Sarah. Oh, this is Sarah Dahl. Oh, really? Okay. Okay. So we're either physically restless, we jump from one activity to the other aimlessly, not finishing anything. Okay. We're verbally restless. We get caught up in singing, chatting, arguing over trivial topics and discussing worldly affairs. So our mouth wants to talk. We are restless. And we don't know what's going on in the world. It is pretty scary nowadays. Yeah. And tomorrow is the military parade. Yeah, costing $145 million at least. But we're trying to cut the budget. Why do we need a parade? We don't. How can you say that? It's for our honorable president, who is turning 79, and he's bright and eager and mentally competent and physically well, and we should rejoice and celebrate as those tanks tear up the streets of Washington, D.C. Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's not singing, that's chatting, arguing over trivial topics. Oh, that's one we do here. I told so-and-so to do this. No, you didn't. Yes, I did. Yeah. This is supposed to be done at this time. We already met and decided, and this person's supposed to do something. And now it's just not done. Yeah. It's like, look, here's the schedule of what's supposed to be done week by week. Yeah. And it's not done. It's not done. Yeah. The vents need to be cleaned again. Yeah, the floor needs to be vacuumed. Yeah. And Avadex was supposed to come and put everything in, and they haven't done it. And what am I supposed to be talking about and doing? Huh? Verbally restless. Caught up in singing. Oh yeah, singing. Yeah. Oh, some people are planning the songs for the next skit.
That's right.
Yeah, you are?
You're gonna like it.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, you're singing a song?
No, it's a surprise.
Oh, it's a surprise. Okay. Oh, now I've got to think, what could she be doing that's going to be surprising? She's going to paraglide off the top of the Buddha Hall. Yeah. Saying, it's done. It's done. What? Okay. Discussing worldly affairs. Mental restlessness, not only physical, verbal, mental restlessness, is likened to an unrestrained drunken elephant and a camel without a nose ring. Both are nearly impossible to control. Do elephants really get drunk? Yeah, they do. They like. They eat fermented fruit. Oh, they eat fermented fruit, and then they're drunk. What? What?
The birds that eat the hawthorn in the fall when it's all fermented, and that's where they start looping around in the sky. The robins do it all in the fall. They get loaded on the fermented fruit. And are in this tree that has the blueberries. Yeah.
Oktoberfest for Robin.
Yes.
How many people have seen drunken birds? You're hallucinating. You ate the fermented fruit. Yeah, you think our turkeys break the fifth precept? No. Okay, so it's like a drunken elephant or a camel without a nose ring. They can be vicious. Camels can be angry, vicious, untamed camels. Well, same with elephants. Yeah, they can be vicious. Both are nearly impossible to control. For these reasons, rather than allow restlessness to continue unabated, we must recognize it and then deliberately calm body, speech, and mind so that they will be undisturbed and more manageable. How do you calm your body when it's restless?
Slow breathing, focus on your breath.
Yeah, slow breathing. Yeah.
Go for a
Go
walk.
for a walk. Do yoga. Okay. How do you calm restless speech? Or you're just blabbering? Oh, take out your mala and start doing mantra. Okay. And what about your mind, when your mind is all over the world? Yeah, death and impermanence can be very good.
parts of the body.
Yeah, 32 parts of the body.
Also mantra.
Yeah, yeah, it can calm the mind, especially if your mind is low energy. Yeah, the mantra can wake you up a bit. Or direct the mind if the mind's going all over. Okay, so this is a good place to stop. Okay, we have time for a few questions and maybe answers. Yeah?
It is true that with lethargy, where are we? Lethargy and sleepiness, when the mind is too clouded, you just by recognizing it doesn't dissolve it. But I had experiences where if you are okay and then you catch it as it starts to occur, like sleepiness just slowly starts and you catch it and you say sleepiness, then it works. But
Yeah.
you need to catch it very early on.
Very
if it goes
early.
too far, then it's too late.
Yeah.
And secondly, I wanted to talk about this magnificent book called Working with the Five Hindrances by Ajahn Tiradamo. So I talked about
Ajahn who?
Tiradamo, Tiradamo, something like that. Tiradamo, yeah, it's a fantastic book. It's like maybe one of the most useful book I've ever read, and I keep using all the time. It's full of practicalities about how to work with the five hindrances. It's full of humor. It's very, very, very good, and it's
Good.
free distribution online.
Oh, okay. Do we
So-
have it in our library?
I gave it to people many times during the last 2 retreats, at least. Maybe Venerable Thubten put it online, I don't know, but I can share it again. It's very, very good resource.
Okay, good. Thank you.
So I'm wondering, lethargy and like sleepiness is categorized under ignorance.
Yeah.
So it's not, it's this mental factor it's a non-virtuous mental factor.
No, it can be, ignorance is a neutral mental factor. Yeah, ignorance is not non-virtuous because you could be, well, there's different kinds of ignorance. The ignorance grasping true existence, you can have that when you're doing a virtuous action. So that ignorance, yeah. The ignorance that misunderstands karma, that one is, yeah, probably non-virtuous.
It's under the 20 non-virtuous mental factor. I'm like, how do we?
But ignorance is one of the 6 root,
Oh, so this is not under
afflictions.
the root.
huh?
How do I put this into which slot of the 51 mental factors?
Oh, you have to look for yourself and see which, of the 5 here and the ones that have 2 things, if you find those mental factors, in the root afflictions, in the secondary afflictions, yeah, or in the, because sleep, for example, goes into the changeable ones. It
The
could be
variables.
either, yeah. And they're not all listed. I mean, the low rig text, with the 6 and the 20 there, that's just pointing out the major ones. There's all sorts of other ones. There's 84,000 afflictions.
Well, that was what I was confused about, because when Geshe Khendu Samduk was here, he says there's just 51. So everything subsumes under one of the 51.
Yeah, subsumed. That means that you can take something out here, and if you have to classify it, you can put it in there. But it doesn't mean that it's exactly the same as that or a branch of that. Yeah.
But what I'm understanding him saying is that there's nothing outside of the 51 categories. That's
No.
what I heard.
No, well, maybe you need to revise what you thought, okay? or what you thought he meant, okay? Because, okay, we can say, what would be a good example? It's not coming to mind. You know, you say there are only, there's only, 5 types of apples? Yeah. So does that mean that every single apple that exists has to be one of the 5 types? Or does that mean, oh, there's kind of 5 major types of apples? Yeah. And here's one that is officially a, what's a kind of apple? A Macintosh. And here's one, it's not actually a Macintosh, but it kind of looks like one. So if we have to squish it in a category, we'll put it with Macintosh. Yeah. Don't remember, categories are inventions of human beings. Don't grasp them as inherently existent. Yeah, because that can drive us really nutty. Anything else? Yeah.
It's mostly just a comment. When I was looking at sensual desire list this week in meditation, I was shocked to find that I kept not having a problem with this. I could think of where other people have a problem with it. Like, oh, they're really attached to collecting antiquities, what a problem that brought to their life, blah, blah, blah. But looking at my own situation, it was just so hard to find that it was problematic. It's just.
So you don't grasp at antiquities?
Yeah, I do, but not to that degree.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm just saying out loud, I know the problem, that I'm not seeing it because it's so pervasive.
Oh, okay.
It's just so pervasive that I'm not seeing it. And then I think it's not that bad, really.
It's not that bad, yes.
You know,
Yes.
it's just a small thing compared to what that person is dealing with.
Oh, yeah. That person has a real bad problem with sensual desire, yeah. But I don't.
To discover just that kind of ignorance.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else? Okay, then we'll stop. Yeah, so some people, yeah, you know sensual desire. Some people just don't get angry. They don't have that problem. Yeah, like you. You don't get angry. You're always in a good mood. Oh, look at that smile. Yes, he's always in a good mood. Your face exposes your moods. Oh, he's smiling now when I say that. Oh, your face doesn't expose your moods now. Yeah, like that.
May the spiritual teachers who lead me on the sacred path, and all spiritual friends who practice it have long life. May I pacify completely all outer and inner hindrances. Grant such inspiration, I pray. May the lives of the venerable spiritual mentors be stable, and their virtuous actions spread in the 10 directions. May the light of wholesome's teachings dispelling the darkness of the beings in the 3 worlds always increase. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kam Niryatayami.
Due to this merit may we soon attain the awakened state of Guru Buddha, that we may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious Bodhi mind, not yet born, arise and grow. May the born have no decline, but increase forevermore. In the snowy mountain pure land, you're the source of good and happiness. Powerful Tenzin Gyatso Chenrezig, may you stay until samsara ends. May the deeds of explaining and practicing the Dharma, done by groups supporting the teachings and their upholders, who spread the view of dependent arising and non-violent actions in the 10 directions, and especially at Sravasti Abbey in the West. Flourish. Did you notice in the first verse we did with the mandala offering at the close, it talked about dispelling the hindrances, overcoming the hindrances. So usually we think of hindrances, external things, yeah, but here it's really pointing out the really big hindrances are internal.